Welcome into the I-80 Boys College Football Show. As always, I'm Christian Hunt, and that guy right over there, that old geriatric-looking man right there
Yeah,
is.
that's me. That's Chris Vaca. What's up, guys? Children of the Corn, how you doing, man? Go Big Red. Christian, how you been? Seems like it's been a while since we've been on here. Football, there is college football going to be played here shortly, hopefully. It seems like it's been a lot longer than a couple weeks, though.
That's what they're saying, man. I don't, this part of the year is so weird, I feel like, because, I don't know what to do with myself. I mean, even in years past where it wasn't so much movement, it wasn't so much chaos, I still hate this part because you're just waiting for the big games, right? It's kind of like you're waiting to eat Thanksgiving, dinner, and you can only eat like a side salad, and I hate it, honestly. But yeah, Chris, I mean, wow, lots happened the last couple weeks, hasn't it?
Oh, dude, this transfer portal thing, man, is crazy. Like I was just telling Christian before we got on, I said it's like every 60 minutes, man. Somebody's going here, somebody's decommitting, somebody's committing somewhere, man. You hear rumors. I don't like to believe everything I read, but man, it's been crazy, Christian. I do hope eventually something changes a little bit with this, because this is like NFL free agency on steroids.
Speaking of other things out there, kind of like that, we're looking at it. Chris, what if I told you Drew Pine? He's going back to Notre Dame. He won't play football. That's the second Notre Dame quarterback that's not going to be playing football. I mean, Buckner, at Alabama, now Pine, not going to be playing any football.
Yeah, I heard Buckner's going to go play lacrosse or something. That's what he's going to do. I'm serious. I'm dead serious.
I know. Good for him.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, man, what the hell's going on, dude. That's crazy. Do you think, while we're on Notre Dame, Riley Leonard, right? I mean, that's where he's headed. Do you think, I don't want to word this, do you think they'll be better with Riley Leonard than they were with Sam Hartman?
No, no, I don't. And I think that, the reason why I say that is, and we talked about this a little bit, I think that Riley Leonard, I think he's a better runner of the football. He's a better athlete,
Oh, yeah.
But he's more like, to me, he's like that point guard that, he's not a great 3-point shooter. He's a great, maybe pick and roll guy. He can drive to the bucket, slash on you a little bit. And he kind of needs to do that to get warmed up. That was what Riley Leonard was to me. You saw it in the game against Clemson, right? I mean, it was a very tough game, first game of the year for him. He didn't over-impress me with his throwing of the football. But what he did was, he was accurate, and he was able to run and kind of do some things like that. And I think that run kind of got his confidence back. So do I think he's going to be better than Sam Hartman? No, I don't. But do I think that, Notre Dame needed somebody? Yes, I do. Because they can't have a lacrosse playing, just regular college kid running around there doing, distributing the rock for him either.
Christian, if I go dig up your profile, we'll probably find out you actually played lacrosse. No, you know what, man? I'm with you. I don't think he'll be. I don't know. I like Riley Leonard. He's a guy that, if you watch him play, reminds me a lot of like Max Duggan. I say that a lot. Tough kid. He's fun to watch, but man, the whole going to Notre Dame, you got to be able to throw the ball a little bit. I just don't know, man. He struggles with that part of it, unfortunately. So we'll see how they do with him. Looks like I lost Christian. Still hasn't gotten his internet fixed, apparently. Jesse Klug, is it sunny in there? It is, my man. These are called my hater blockers for all the Colorado people this season. I'm going to continue to wear them because I know how it's going to be this next offseason, especially when they come to Lincoln. There he is. But yeah, no, other than that, Christian, on Notre Dame, got you back here. I agree, my friend. Oh, he's coming in now. Okay. Yes, Children of the Corn, isn't there something like 1,100 kids in a portal? Yeah, it's freaking crazy, dude. This is it's getting to a point anymore with college football. Like I said, it's almost become like freaking NFL free agency on steroids. That's kind of the way it's looking. And I'm assuming there's going to be some changes going forward next year. So as far as this whole transfer portal, NIL money, yeah, there we go, Christian. Good to see you back, my man.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm on that same Wi-Fi that, most Georgia fans are on right now, running a little slow, but that's okay. I live in Nebraska now, so I can do both.
I thought maybe you were stealing it off the Walmart over there, so I didn't know. So
I have to Velcro my shoes, don't I?
Yes. Get somebody to help you Velcro those shoes in the morning.
Oh, geez.
But anyway, moving on from Notre Dame, Christian. I know you wanted to add something else.
Yeah, I think the other side of it too is let's see here. Oh, Tyler Van Dyke transferring to Wisconsin. What are your thoughts on that?
I was going to ask you about this. I actually think it's a good thing. I know if anybody knows anything about Tyler Van Dyke, man, was it 21 or 22? He had a season with Miami. It was a couple of years ago. It wasn't this last year. I think it was the year before, where he looked really good. He was actually in the Heisman candidates there kind of at the end. He played really well. I don't know what happened to him last year, this year currently, if you want to say that. He played terrible. Actually got benched, if I'm not mistaken, at one point at the end of the year there. So I think for Wisconsin, Christian, I think it's a good thing. This should make you happy because this whole Tanner Mordecai thing that me and you've been arguing about all season did not pan out the way I thought it was going to. The transfer from SMU this year. Yeah, I actually think that's all right. I think Tyler Van Dyke will be an upgrade. I truly do. The turnovers got to come down though from that kid.
You know, I'll have to wait and see. And the reason why I say I'll wait and see is because it depends on what version of Tyler Van Dyke you get. This year he looked terrible, and the ACC wasn't. The ACC wasn't exactly barn burners either.
No, it's trash.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like I said, I mean, I think Luke Fickell, if he gets a little bit better talent around him, which I think he might, like I said, Wisconsin's got a really good chance this year. It'll be interesting to see how a lot of that stuff plays out, Chris. Raiola coming to Nebraska is huge.
Yeah. God, how many times have we talked about this last offseason? Holy smokes, man. It was so back and forth on this topic. Yeah, I would like to see him come here, obviously. I'll believe it when I see it, though, with that kid. He's got a history of changing his mind about every other day, it seems like. So, yeah, I know whoever gets him, obviously, they're going to be better off. So I get that.
Yeah. I mean, by the way, he's just coming up here for a visit. Right. I mean, and I know a lot of people are throwing a lot of stuff out there, and I'm not trying to throw dampen the fire because I'm a Georgia fan and stuff like that. If we don't get him, then hopefully you get him, right? As long as it's not USC or Alabama or some dumb shit like that. I'm not really going to be jealous about it. But I think the other thing is, I don't know, man. I mean, this day and age in college football is so weird because a lot of people are throwing it out there. And I'll be honest, I thought Kyle McCord was going to come and be your guys' quarterback. And that's all that I was hearing, and it was all the experts and pundits. They were coming on saying it's a lock. As of I think last night, it's a lock that he's going to be on. He's going to be a Husker. And 20 minutes, 30 minutes ago, they came out and said, nope, he's going to be opening it up again. And like I said, he's going on. So I don't know if that's because Raiola is coming here and they've already told him, or if that's just because he thinks he's got a better shot somewhere else. I don't know.
I would assume. I mean, you want to say that's probably because of Raiola, right? Because all of a sudden, it just changed his mind. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if we'll ever know the truth on that. I wanted Kyle McCord. I would take also his running mate there, Julian Fleming, the 5-star receiver a couple years ago out of high school. I would have took him in a heartbeat as well. We need some veteran leadership out of wideout this year. But it'll be interesting to see where he ends up as well, though. McCord, I don't know, man. It's like I said, there's so much speculation on this whole thing.
Yeah, well, Oregon put up 50 on Liberty.
Man, I've watched Liberty. How sad is that to say? I've watched them play some games this year. Yeah, they probably should. I don't know who's all playing for Oregon. I've heard this thing about Bo Nix might be playing in that game. I find that incredibly hard to believe. I heard that rumor the other day. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. Even if he's not, though, Oregon's just got so much more talent, right? Nothing against Liberty in the undefeated season this year, Christian. That was amazing. What's his name? Is who the hell's their coach?
Jamie Shadwell.
Shadwell, yeah, from Coastal Carolina. He had a hell of a year this year. Liberty, like I said, I have watched him play, no pun intended, but they're not a bad team. They're really not. They got a bunch of guys that They're like your Georgia Southern team or whatever, or Southern Georgia, whatever you call those down there. Christian, you always like to brag about them. They're very similar. They just got a lot of athletes out there. They're fast.
Oh, 100%. I agree with you. I think it'll be interesting to see what they do. I don't know, man. I mean, Oregon, that could be a more interesting game than what we think it's going to be, right? Because I think Oregon, technically speaking, their quarterback's in the portal. One of them's in the portal. Their backup, Ty Thompson, I think he's in the portal, if I'm not mistaken. So I might be wrong on that. But so who the hell's going to take snaps? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. I would assume I don't know if Bucky Irving is going to the draft this year. I would be surprised if he plays. They got the really other good wide receiver too. That's a stud. I doubt he plays either. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how Oregon's all going to throw out there now in that game. So could they drop 50? Yes, definitely they could. Will they? I don't know.
The committee messed up college football this year. Bad. I agree. And I think that Chris, I don't know if 12 teams is going to be a fix either, because I think you'll even have debate yet about the 12 and 13 team, in there, even the 11th team. So the one thing the committee showed me is there's no consistency with what they look at.
Yeah, I will add to this. We talked about it. We haven't talked about it in a while, but what they did to Florida State was bullshit. Do I think Florida State was one of the best 4 teams at the end of the year? No, I definitely do not. I don't even know if they were one of the top 10, to be honest with you, with Jordan Travis being out. But what the committee showed, and what showed most of us anyway that agree with me here, is that they didn't value the regular season, what Florida State did. That game over LSU week 1 where they beat the hell out of them in the second half didn't mean anything, man. And I don't like that look. You know what I mean? Yes, I understand TV ratings, money is the biggest thing in college football. Nobody's going to want to tune in to watch, Michigan play Florida State and beat them by 30 in their opening round of the playoff. But what was right is right. Florida State ran the table this year. They did. I mean, Alabama didn't win all their games. Neither did Texas. So I just, like I said, I'm upset about it just for the sheer fact that if I was a Florida State fan, I would be irate. Christian, I know if the Bulldogs did the same thing, dude, I mean, it would be a freaking uproar. Alabama fans, Ohio State fans. I just don't agree with it, man. And it sucks because I feel bad for Florida State. I feel bad for Jordan Travis. I mean, that guy played awesome this year. It just sucks, man. It sucks for college football as far as that goes going forward. Like you said, something about if they do a 12 team, we'll probably be sitting here arguing in next year, the year after, about who the 12th and 13th team are, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I just don't get what they're wanting to do. I mean, I-80 boys for college football committee president, 2025. Let's go. Y'all ain't watching this 2024 schedule on ESPN? Huh. What's going on with that?
Yeah, enlighten us.
Yeah, what are you talking about?
Enlighten me, swag. What are we talking about over there?
I wonder if they're talking about, or if he's talking about like the SEC's coming out with their schedule or something like that.
Shit, I have no idea. Yeah, I don't know. Oh yeah, it is the 2024 SEC football schedule reveal. Excuse me.
I know we play Bama September 28th.
Yeah, you guys. I'm pretty sure you guys got Clemson off the. You guys got a little bit better schedule this year. A little tougher schedule coming up next year, I should say. Not this year. We're still in this year.
Let's see.
And swag, what are you talking about anyway, man? We all know Florida ain't winning 5 games next year. Let's be real here. Let's be real. Billy Napier will be fired midway through the season.
I can't add Children of the Corn to it until he's got to, I guess, add his camera and all that stuff too. His microphone won't let me do it. Yeah. So yeah, I mean that's going to be. Yeah, Georgia's got a pretty good schedule too. I mean, like you said, I think it's going to be.
Wow, look at that! Yeah, man, look at the Clemson. I don't think Kentucky will be a pushover, but yeah, then you got Bama. Auburn's never easy. Texas, Ole Miss, Tennessee to end of the year. Yeah, that's a little more ramped up than it was this year. I know that was the big knock on Georgia, right? Everybody, Georgia don't play nobody. Don't play anybody. Right.
Oh my God, isn't that the truth?
Jesus, man. I don't know, dude. What else you guys got? Swag, you just dropped in here and dropped that and you leave on me?
No, I had to send him back because he's got to turn on his camera and his microphone and stuff like that. It wouldn't let me add him.
Oh, I thought you were talking about corn. Okay, I didn't. Gotcha.
Oh, sorry. Was that? Yeah, that might be who. Yeah, okay. That might be who we were talking about. Anyways, we talked about Tyler Van Dyke. Man, any bowl games you're excited to watch? Not that we know who else is going to be playing in them.
Christian, I think. Is anybody playing in the Georgia-Florida State game? That's the one I want to know. Is anybody playing in that game? I'm assuming is Carson Beck. Speaking of Carson Beck, is he going to the NFL?
Word on the street is he wants $4 million to come back next year.
Are you screwing with me, or are you being completely honest with what you're hearing?
Nope, I read that somewhere today.
Oh, really?
He wants $4 million to come back, and for a team like Georgia, I say pay him.
Yeah, I'm going to assume this. That's why Brock Vandagriff left. Was because I don't get me wrong. If I'm not mistaken, Vandagriff was a really high recruit, wasn't he? He was like a 4 or 5 star quarterback.
Yeah, he was a 4 or 5 star quarterback. With the problem, I think he was a 5-star quarterback. Committed to Oklahoma at one point, then decided he played at Prince Avenue Christian, which is a private school out there out of Athens. I think is where it's at. So he wanted to stay home, and the problem that I have with it though, was he played in that private school league, right? I played in that same league actually that he played in. So It's not the most competitive league you're ever going to see. So yeah, he looked really good. I'm not going to discredit him or discount that. It's kind of like the same thing as Arch Manning, right? When you get to college, it doesn't really translate. You might have all the tools, but you need to play against that competition for a few years to get probably locked in. Okay. This Missouri-Ohio State game could be interesting.
Yeah, I think Mizzou probably is going to play damn near everybody they can in that one. I do. I was just reading the other day about Missouri. I think I told you this too, Christian, that this was the best season, whether 10-2, that they've had in a long time at Missouri. And I honestly think Mizzou could beat a lot of teams in the top 10. I do. I actually think I don't think their defense is like Georgia's or even Bama or Michigan maybe, but they got a really good offense. That Brady Cook kid had a hell of a year. Nobody talks about him near enough, just like they don't talk about their head coach and Drinkowicz. He had a great year this year. I like Mizzou, man. This will be a good game. That will be a really good game between them and Ohio State. I agree.
I agree with you too, man. I think if Kyle McCord was playing, would you give the edge to Ohio State?
Yes, strictly because, if Kyle McCord was playing and Marvin Harrison Jr., if you had Ohio State at full roster here, I would probably lean Ohio State. But I think I actually think that game would be really, really tight. Ohio State definitely has the better defense for sure, 100%. But Missouri, man, could put up some points though. Like I said, they gave Georgia a pretty good run for their money for 3 quarters as well. So.
Yeah, I mean, Ole Miss and Penn State, I mean, that would have been a fun one to watch too. I mean, it still is going to be, right? For as far as I know, a lot of these guys are coming back for both these teams.
Yeah. Well, I think Penn State needs to, right? Penn State probably underachieved this year in most people's minds. That should be a really good game too. I agree. Those are 2 teams with 2 losses, and both their losses were to really good teams.
Georgia Southern versus Ohio. I mean, then we just start getting into some of these games, and I just can't even do it. I can't even do it, Chris.
Troy versus Duke. Oh my God.
Troy versus Duke. Yeah. That game wouldn't have even been fun to watch, even if Duke had Riley Leonard and Mike Elko.
I agree.
Utah versus Northwestern. I mean, who's Utah going to trot out there? Cam Rising. I don't even think he's going to.
This is what sucks about this whole transfer portal. It's taken away from the bowls too. The competitiveness. I hate that part of it too. I know that's something we're going to have to deal with. They need to get rid of some of these lesser bowls and just make the fucking playoff like a 32 teamer. That's what they need to do.
I agree with you. Make it a 32 teamer. Like I was having that conversation. I think it's a good conversation to have, Chris, is would you be okay in a couple years if they said we're going to do away with the whole win 6 games, go to a bowl, and just go more in favor of doing like a 25 or 24 or 30 team playoff, and that was all your bowl games pretty much?
Yes, you know why? Because, and I know people are going to throw in, well, they do these bowl games because all the money the schools make. Well, just take some of those good bowl games and stick them in for the play-in games, the next round games, make them the whatever you want to name the bowl, right? But the good thing about if let's say 24 teams got to play in a playoff or 30, like you said, most of those teams you still got a shot to win a national title. All you got to do is get hot and win 4 or 5 games, right? But players are going to play.
Yeah.
To get the best football. As a college football fan like you and I are, that's all I want to watch, right? I just want to watch good football and watch the best players play, like Ohio State. I want to watch Marvin Harrison trot out there, dude. I want to watch Kyle McCord, who only lost 1 freaking game this year, trot out there. I'm with you, dude. They need to do something like that because nobody gives 2 shits about half these bowl games.
Oh, yeah. You're right. I mean, imagine watching the Bad Boy Mowers Pinstripe Bowl. If let's say Miami was the number 24 team in the country, and they had to take on Alabama, right? Or They had to take on like Georgia or something like that. Like I feel like that would be more interesting to me, and they'd make way more money than they would watching Rutgers and Miami play each other.
Yeah, 100%.
Yo, you're on with the I-80 boys.
You like work over there?
You got me?
Yeah, got you.
Yep.
Jesus Christ, that took long enough.
Yeah. It's that age of technology over there, Corn. Come on, man.
Yeah, I got a new phone, so apparently I have to tell Google to allow me to do what I want to do.
Have to give it like a DNA sample before you can.
Jesus H Christ, no. When I wanted to call in when you were talking about that Florida State deal, because I'm sick to my stomach over that, and I don't. Are the both starting quarterbacks, are they out indefinite, or is it like a 2-3 week deal?
Jordan Travis is done. I know that
he's done.
And then Taint Roadmaker is. I think he was just in concussion protocol for that 1 week, so I think he should play.
He's gonna play. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And that'll help Florida State out. Sorry, Corn. Go ahead, man.
Oh no, and they get a month to recover and practice. I just, how can the committee? They're just going against everything we were brought up upon. They're telling these kids, you were perfect. You did nothing wrong. You got 0 losses, but we're not going to take you. And why? Because we think Alabama can put on a better show than you. And that is why I just hate Alabama to the pit of my stomach.
I think, and I heard a rumor, now I don't know how true this is or not, but I hope if this happens. Of course, this would piss a lot of people off, and a lot of schools would probably get in a lot of trouble for doing this, but I want to see everything go right up until kickoff. And I want to see Florida State do everything, come out on the field, and as soon as they're supposed to kick the ball off, just walk right back in the locker room. Take their pads off.
I was thinking the exact same thing, but then I thought about another thing. Don't they have to sign contracts?
So I'm gonna jump in on this, and I was listening to a couple other podcasts talk about this exact thing with Florida State. Florida State is trying badly to get out of the ACC, like badly. That was the talk this whole preseason. They need the money badly. So I would find it hard to believe that they probably want to do that, and I'm all for if they did do that. Believe me, like you guys said, but I think they need that couple mil or whatever they get from that. I would find it hard to believe it if it does happen, but I agree with you guys on that too. And I'll let you guys talk about it, but this, like Christian said, I would love to see him come out there, shake hands and, openly kick off and take a knee and call it a day. I really would. And I know that sucks for the college football fan, but I'm with you guys. It was bullshit the way that was handled this year.
I would love to see it as well. I'd laugh so hard.
I think that here's my thoughts on it, right? Even if they have to pay a fine, or even if they do need the money to get out of the the ACC. I mean, this is kind of a travesty. This is something that they could market if they need to. They could raise funds off of this to get out, I think. And there's a large Florida State, fan base, around the country, around the world that would donate to it and help them get out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I said, guys, I mean, would you agree, though, that it showed that the committee just doesn't value the regular season? I mean, to me, it just blows my mind. They did beat a really good LSU team week 1. That was one of the most hyped up games, if not the biggest game in the 4 non-con games most teams play, right? I mean, other than the Texas-Alabama game, that LSU-Florida State was everything it was supposed to be, and it's like, come on, man. And I just hate the fact, and I'll end it right here and let you guys talk about it, but it pisses me off that they did nothing wrong. They did everything they were supposed to do, 13-0. I mean, if Georgia, like I said, this would have happened to them, or Alabama, or Michigan, or Texas, or anybody else ran the table, you would be irate as a fan of that team.
Yeah, I mean, just think about if the Huskers did it.
Yeah.
Oh, there would be fucking riots on the streets in downtown Lincoln.
Shit, there's already those already.
It's just disgusting, and I don't know if it's possible for them to do, but I say the committee needs to be sued for $500 million.
Yeah, I like I said, I'm with you guys on this. I'm glad we all kind of agree, because I put a poll out about this, man. It riled some people up about.
Oh God, I told you, it's like the trash can incident. I could have fucking kicked that trash can 60 yards. And then I don't know how much you guys care about LSU's quarterback winning the Heisman, but that to me is just another turd in the toilet bowl. It made no sense to me that he won.
Really?
Well, now I disagree. I see why he won, because he had 50 touchdowns in the SEC, which is not an easy feat to do. And he also, outside of Jaden Daniels, LSU didn't have a defense this year. I mean, he had to literally keep them in every game they played. They couldn't run the football. I mean, the offensive line didn't look great. And outside of Malik Neighbors, I mean, basically he had to will them to every game they played. Now, I think if you're, where I will agree with you as to where you could make a case for the Penix kid, that those 2 wins against Oregon were Heisman moments, and you could make just as much of a case for him to win it, I think, over Jaden Daniels easily.
Well, why wouldn't Texas's quarterback be a candidate?
Numbers. Yeah, he was hurt also a couple of games.
Or Washington's quarterback.
Yeah,
Penix. Yeah, Penix put up some crazy numbers. The reason why Daniels, I think, got it, Christian alluded to it, and I didn't disagree with it, because the kid had over 5,000 yards of total offense by one human being. If you look that up in the history of college football, that's right up there with like 8 elite players to ever do that. And he did a lot of that on the ground. I think he had 1,200 yards rushing. That was more than most teams starting running back this year. And they had 0 defense, still took them to 9 wins. I like I said, I'm with Christian on this too. Michael Penix was right there too. He did beat the 2 wins over Oregon, who I'm really high on. Were pretty awesome. So I'm just glad it was a good Oregon twice. Yeah, no, and it was. And I mean, LSU's biggest win was probably against who? I know they lost Alabama. They lost to Ole Miss by 2. Christian, I don't even know who the hell like their biggest win would have been. I think Missouri probably. They did beat Mizzou. I watched that game. Probably Mizzou.
And then again, I have quite a few points on this, but I respect you guys. We're rooting for the LSU quarterback, but Texas beat Alabama in the regular season. Mm-hmm. So why? I mean, in my eyes, right there, Texas should be ahead of Alabama. You can't mistake Michigan or Washington. Why couldn't? I mean, if we're just going to throw teams in here that lost to a team that you might play in the playoff, why not throw in a freaking Oklahoma State team? Throw in another garbage team. I mean, throw in Ohio State.
Well, I think they were looking at, conference champions. I mean, look, trust me, I don't disagree with you. I think, the committee really fucked this up, and they messed it up mainly because if you're going to put Florida State behind Bama and put them ahead of Georgia, for that matter, like why would you put Florida State ahead of Georgia? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it makes no sense. And
I mean, if you're going to screw them, then just screw them all the way. Make them number 6.
yeah, I mean, if you're gonna put it in with no lube and then break it off, I mean, at least give them a tap on the shoulder when you're done.
Well, here's the deal, though. Like, I think why they took Bama over a team like Ohio State or a team who had the other one loss. There was another team in there I'm missing. I honestly think it's because they knocked off Georgia, who had won 29 straight and was crowned, obviously, the SEC champion. The committee had a tough decision to make. I understand it from that point. They've never not left out, an SEC champion or a 13-0 team. They had to pick one. Unfortunately, they picked the wrong one, in my opinion, by leaving Florida State out. Also, I think it had to do with money and ratings. Unfortunately, like I said, trust me, you guys know where I stand on this. Florida State should have definitely been in there. I think the team that probably benefited the worst from this whole thing was Michigan. If you watch that video of Michigan when they announced it, Michigan thought they were playing Florida State, and all of a sudden they said Alabama, and they're like, oh. And I actually think that Alabama might beat Michigan. So
I was gonna say, who are y'all pulling for in that game? Because I think we don't like Michigan. I know that, and I definitely don't like Alabama.
I will not root for Alabama. I won't do it. So I'm pulling for Michigan. Here's my kind of final question on this whole deal. With the bowl games being as shitty as they are in my eyes, let's say Florida State beats Georgia. Let's just say a miracle happens.
Oh, yeah.
Would there be an argument that they could petition the committee and want a split of the national title like it's happened in Nebraska?
It can't because it's a playoff now.
Yeah, I think they can do what UCF
if they could beat
did.
Georgia, why not?
They could do what UCF did. They could just claim it.
Yep. If you look back into history, you can see unclaimed and claimed national titles by teams. It's kind of crazy. Some of the teams that actually claimed one but never won it. Christian's got a point there. That's actually a good point. But yeah, I don't think they'll do that. And the thing is Florida State going to trot anybody out there? One. Two, if they do, it's going to be, I know Keon Coleman's not playing. Johnny Wilson's not playing. I don't think Benson's playing.
Half of Georgia's team is in the transfer portal, right now.
Yeah. I mean, that game might kind of suck to watch. I hate to say that. I really do, because I don't think a lot of people are playing it.
And here's the other thing, too. I mean, this is going to be such a weird game to watch because we don't even know if Carson Beck's coming back yet. For Georgia, for Florida State, we assume, Tate Rodemaker is going to be their guy. Florida State's defensive line jumped in the portal. Like a lot of those guys just straight up said, we're getting in the portal. Jared Verse, if he probably might set out too.
He already declared he's in the draft.
Yeah.
So he's like actually a top 10 pick, by the way. So he ain't playing it. No need for him to play. Yeah.
What do you think our chances are on getting Raiola?
Well, the way that kid changes schools, I'd say pretty good.
Might get him for a week or two, and then he's back down at Georgia. I don't know, man. We talked about this a little bit earlier, but I'm not, until he signs here and is actually on the football field, I'll believe it. I'm just like, do I want him? Yeah. But if you don't, whatever.
He might go transfer to Kearney Catholic. I mean, you guys got a pipeline there. Shit.
Go back to high school for another year. Jesus, man. Yeah,
no,
I don't know.
I think you guys have a good shot to get him. I think, and me and Chris were talking about it before we got on. Up until today, I thought it was I know you probably thought the same thing, Corn. I thought it was a foregone conclusion you guys were going to get McCord, from Ohio State.
Yeah.
He's from Ohio State, right?
Yep.
Yeah. They were saying, everything I was reading was saying it's a lock. He is pretty much coming to Nebraska. He was crystal balled, and I thought if you guys get McCord and Raiola can sit a year, they can build the lineup, maybe get a couple more playmakers in there. That's big time. But I think if you get, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think but if you get Raiola, You know what I mean? Obviously, he's an instant upgrade over whoever else you've got. And if you start him right away, I mean, didn't Adrian, I'm not saying they're the same person, but didn't Adrian Martinez start right away?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm very rarely am I in favor for a true freshman starting, right? Like for every Trevor Lawrence there's a million JT Daniels and Max Browns and guys we've never even heard of that were the best in their school. I mean, look at Dante Moore, who was one of the best quarterbacks, I think, in that class last year. The only reason why he wasn't higher was because Arch Manning was out there, and we all know about that. But, I mean, he went to UCLA, and he struggled, in the Pac-12.
Yeah, I'm anti starting a true freshman out there. I like to have them sit a year, get a grasp of the offense. You got to remember, man, these kids are 17, 18 years old too. Another year in the weight room. Nebraska's offensive line pass blocking is not very good. I don't want to see him get killed, ruin his confidence. Yeah, we talk about rookie quarterbacks in the NFL. It's the same way most of the time. Yeah, C.J. Stroud this year's had a great year for the most part. But look at Zach Wilson. Look at a lot of these guys they bring in right away. Patrick Mahomes praises Alex Smith for sitting behind him for a year. You know what I mean? He talks about it all the time. I think that would be the best case scenario, that if we would have landed McCord, still got Raiola for a year. But Raiola, Christian, and you guys might both agree on this, he seems like a kid that wants to come in and play right away.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say that's exactly why he's leaving Georgia.
Yeah, because I think Carson Beck comes back a year there, and he probably doesn't want to sit. And don't you guys
didn't we also have an Ohio State wide receiver in town this week?
Yeah, Julian Fleming.
What happened with that?
I think they were a package deal.
Gotta love them.
Maybe, you know what I mean? Maybe. But, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm going to be – I told Chris that, look, you guys got to do something before December's up, as far as a quarterback or something like that. Because I think that if you guys can get a decent quarterback, whether it be Raiola, whether it be, McCord, or even if it's Cam Ward, somebody like that in this portal, then that gives you guys a great shot to keep adding pieces going into the spring.
Yeah. Didn't we? I thought we had K-State's quarterback in our eyes, too.
Will Howard.
Yeah. Well, but how would that
on him? He didn't. We visited him. I know Cam Ward. We were on Cam Ward's list there for a minute, too.
Yeah. My question though is, if you guys get another portal quarterback, a guy that's a senior that comes in and plays for a year, a 1-year rental, how's that any different than him going to Georgia? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
Because I think the kid's
need something.
I think he's talented, but do I think he's talented enough to come in and usurp a guy that's been, that's played college football at a decent level for 3 or 4 years or 17? I don't fucking know how long these kids play anymore.
We need someone.
Well, let's be honest. Even if Raiola does come here and we do end up trotting him out on the field next year, he's not insulated by anything. He doesn't have great elite receivers. If you dropped him in at Ohio State with Marvin Harrison Jr. and some of those guys, that's a whole different story too. That's what happened to Trevor Lawrence. He had all Deshaun Watson's guys still there. Makes it a little bit easier, takes a little bit of pressure, edge off your quarterback having to do everything. Now, Nebraska can run the football a little bit, but let's be honest, me and Christian talk about this all the time. The offensive line and the pass blocking is terrible in my opinion.
Garbage.
Yeah, I just don't think it would be a good deal to roll him out there if he does come here next year. I really, really don't.
Yeah, we need some wide receivers bad.
Yeah, we're hurting there too.
O-line, wide receiver, quarterback, maybe snag a running back. I got nothing wrong with our defense, and we get to keep Tony White. Thank God.
Yeah. What's his name? Robinson's coming back. Hutchmacher will be back. We're going to have a lot of pieces back on defense. Defense should be pretty strong again this coming year. I would think, or sure hope so. I think we're going to take a little bit of a step back just because of the offenses coming in with Oregon and USC and Washington.
Yeah, I can't think of the guy's name right now, but who are the two that were leaving on defense?
Was it Reimers?
Reimer and who else?
And it was a cornerback, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
I'd have to look. I can't even fucking remember.
Are you talking about the linebacker graduating?
No, they were hitting. They said they were just
Going to the portal.
either transferring or they're just done. But no, it had to be the portal. There's two of them because I was listening to Sports Nightly last night and they were talking about it. And they said some tweets came out between them two. They were in the weight room joking around, and it said, possibility we might come back another year.
Yeah, Christian Plowsker's going to pull that up. Yeah. See,
I think one of them was a linebacker.
God, I was going to say, was it Reimers? Was it? I thought he was a senior. Maybe I'm wrong on him. I was going to say he's in Nebraska.
Well, he medically retired.
Yeah, I think Reimers just said he retired. God, I can't believe I can't think of their names. That's disgusting.
Oh, you can always take Jeff Sims back, I guess.
No.
I shouldn't harp on Jeff Sims, Dan. He's a good guy. He just can't hang on the fucking football.
Yeah, no, where have we seen that before?
I swear it was you're losing Reimer, and then it's like another, I think like two cornerbacks or something like that. One of them, I think, barely played or played on like special teams, and then the other one, I think, was like a rotational guy or something. Maybe it was a safety. Okay.
Was it Miles Farmer?
Yeah, it just doesn't sound right. Okay. I just know they were talking about it last night. And some tweets that came out that they're going to come back for another year instead of leaving.
Okay, never mind. It wasn't Miles Farmer. I was thinking somebody totally different. Miles Farmer left before the season.
Oh, it was Isaac Gifford and then Ben Hart.
Yes, that's who it was.
Okay. Wow.
That would be a good package to keep for another year.
Yeah, I think Nebraska will be all right there defensively, though. They got some guys. They've rotated in a lot of guys this year, though. I will say that young guys. That's one thing Rule's good about. Hopefully he's going to have after another good class of recruiting, though.
What do you think about Grant Bricks? Did you see that old guy?
Oh, the dude from Iowa?
Yeah.
The offensive lineman? Yeah, I think he'll be all right. He's tall, though, man. They're going to put some size on that kid, though. Like, muscle. Weight.
Teach him how to pass block.
Yeah, teach him how to pass block. That seems to be a problem here, dude. God, I need to get me started on pass blocking in Nebraska.
Yeah, I got pretty much harassed at work today that our field goal kicker is just fine. They said, we're good. We're good in that department.
Man, you are stuck on the field goal kickers, aren't you?
Field goal kicker. Jesus.
Well, how many games this year did we lose by a field goal? Because he shanked one at some point in the game or when it mattered. How many games did we lose by a field goal? I'm saying 3.
How many games did we lose by turning the ball over with the last minute?
I was going to say, I mean,
the game. God, it makes me sick. They have one job.
Well, he made the most important one. That was the one to send you guys into overtime against Wisconsin, but I don't think he should have ever had to have made that one. I think you guys should have tried to score.
God, you need to just go try out, Chris. I know you can't be any worse.
No, I can't. I used my years of eligibility back in the day, man. It wouldn't take me. I do think I could make some of these goddamn kicks, though, that some of these guys do miss, though. I will say that.
If you could get a little height under it, yes.
Yeah, like I said, I didn't even really. I mean, I wasn't even really a kicker. I just had to kick because we had nobody else.
You could probably get a COVID year.
Yeah, that's true. Go out there. I'll put my application in. I work right down there every day. I see the stadium. Maybe I can go talk to Rule and maybe get Christian on board too. Go play some quarterback. Look like Iowa's body double out there for Nebraska next year and teach Raiola how to throw the football.
Shit, while you're pulling people in, you might as well let me call some plays. I can't be any worse than our offensive coordinator now.
Yeah, Satterfield. I'm not real big on Satterfield, but
hey, let's keep it parked there. By the way, that's a good point. Satterfield had a top 5 quarterback previously in Spencer Rattler at South Carolina, with a terrible offensive line. The run game wasn't, I know the run game for you guys was good for the Big Ten standard and everything like that this year. But it was bad, right? He's been like at best like a 70th rated total offense in the country. I think this is about as good as he's been.
Yeah, it's you said it right there. At best, he's maybe I don't know if he's an average offensive coordinator, but Rule really likes his guys, and I know wasn't Satterfield with him Was he with him at like Temple or Baylor or one of those schools, or am I wrong?
Both.
He was at both. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I told Chris, I said, look, there's two things I look at with Nebraska. And the first thing is you got to get back to winning 7-8 games a year, going to bowl games and competing and doing that stuff. But outside of that, what is the path to beating a Michigan? What's the path to beating Ohio State, Penn State, UCLA, Oregon, Washington? What's the path to doing that?
Well, first things first, you have to limit turnovers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
After that, if you can't score more than 21 points in a game, you're probably not going to win too many games. And our defense is on the field all the damn time. I mean, I get it. They probably get sick and tired of being out there. They're like, come on, guys, help us out.
My point is, because I know, right? It's like Georgia. If Georgia goes back to winning, 7-8 games a year, or they've run through a patch like you guys have, even if you get back to 7-8 wins, I mean, and that's the best case scenario for Matt Rule, right? Which I think it's a realistic case to say. Now, if he starts landing some of these big time transfers and he starts getting some more, talent in there, and he can address a lot more of the weaknesses, you guys got a shot. Until he does that, I'm not sold 100%. I think he'll do well, but I think that, there's a lot of people expecting them to get you guys back into the playoffs and start winning Big Ten championships and doing stuff like that. And I don't know. I think there's a huge disparity there between where Nebraska's at and where they got to go, especially with them doing away with the divisions.
Yeah, I'm definitely still questioning Matt Rule. I mean, wasn't he? What's his win-loss record in college football? Ain't it like 60%?
500, I think.
Yeah, he's
Jesus, lower than 60. Awesome.
Well, we talk about Matt Rule, though. If you look at his history, though, I think he's a coach that'll take a bad program, like a 3 or 4 win school, and can make them an 8 or 9 win at best. That's kind of what he did at Temple. That's what he definitely did at Baylor. It's usually in his 3rd season by the time you see the improvement. Problem is, he always leaves right after that. He doesn't do it for multiple years in a row, though, either, which I have a problem with when people start crowning him this great head coach. I'm not saying Rule's a bad coach. I'm just saying I'd like to see him do multiple years of 9, 10 wins, whatever it is, 8 wins, something like that before I go, okay, this guy's the real deal. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But what happens if, and let me just throw this out there hypothetically speaking, what happens if next year I know a lot of people are saying we should start off 6-0. And, Colorado, as much as we hate to say it, they're going to be better next year too. They've addressed a lot of things in the offensive line, this offseason, and they're going to an easier conference. And they're always tougher to play earlier in the year, I think. But what happens if he goes 5-7 again next year? And then they fire Satterfield and they got to bring in a new offensive coordinator.
Yeah,
I mean, that makes.
Let's just keep paying people money.
Right? I mean,
we love doing it. I mean, we did it. We tried the whole. We can rebuild this team in 3 years with Scott Frost, and we all know how that turned out.
Yeah, they would. I mean, if we did go 5-7 again, which I think is a very realistic possibility next year for Nebraska. Hate to say that, but it could happen. I think he'll either have to be forced to fire somebody, and then he's allowed a 3rd year. I think after 3 years, then it's like, hey, because his 3rd year historically has been his best years. That was his best year at Temple, definitely his best year at Baylor, I believe. I think that would end up having to happen or have to happen. Excuse me.
Yeah, I mean, I think most coaches too, like by year 3, you know what you got. You know what I mean? Enough time has passed, halfway through year 3 for you to know whether or not a coach is going to be good or not. Now I know, especially today's age. I mean, shit, like they got 60 new players, in his first year that weren't even on that team. Now it seems like a lot worse because a lot of the guys you had starting, I think, were, they were, starters from the previous year and had played and contributed and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know. I think, like I said, this month right here is going to tell me a lot of what to expect from this season. I know that.
Yeah, I think being a great head coach, I think 75% of it's recruiting. I really do, especially college level, bringing kids in the transfer portal and recruiting. You got to have talent to win.
Yeah, you can have the best coach in the world, but if the kids aren't good, you ain't gonna win.
Exactly. Exactly. All right.
All right. Well, I think, this is going to be a good wrap up. We're going to probably end up knocking out some, season and review videos for some teams probably this weekend and then getting those out. But, yeah, I think we'll probably try to get back on again next Wednesday. This is the worst part of the season because we're just waiting for the big games to kind of kick off.
Yeah, there'll be about 100 more kids in the transfer portal by next Wednesday.
Probably.
Hey, big shout out to Husker volleyball.
Yeah, they play Thursday night too? Is that right?
Yeah, Thursday at 6.
Yeah, man, they should be able to beat Pitt. Hopefully, then they'll have to play Wisconsin or Texas. But yeah, that's the only thing we got going, man.
They said something about they set like a attendance record for most people to watch a woman's sport throughout the season. I'm like, wow, cool. Just keep getting them records, but just know that Husker football will improve and we'll take back over the throne.
I hope you're right, Corn. I hope you're right, my man. I hope the football team does something. Christian made a good point, though, before we wrap it up here. He said a lot for next year is going to be pretty dependent on these next couple of weeks here, what Nebraska does in the portal.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Corn, we'll catch you. Catch you probably on next Wednesday's show. Stay frosty out there. Have a good weekend.
Guys.
Good talking to you too, man.
All right. We'll see you guys.